What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Severe MMA. My name is Sean Sheehan, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Norbert Novenyi Jr. before his big fight coming up at Bellator 297 against Camille Onishuk. Norbert, how are you? I'm delighted to be joined by you. I spoke to you in Dublin only a couple of months ago, coming back off the long injury, and you looked absolutely delighted that night to be fighting. It must be great to have another fight coming up so soon. It's been so stop-start over the last few years. It must be great to have another fight straight away.
Yeah, first, thank you for having me on. Secondly, that was my plan. My plan for this year is obviously I had a fight in February. I broke his face. I've got another fight in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I'll break his face, and I'll get someone else at the end of the year and break his face as well. That's the plan for this year.
I want to take it back to the very start with you, because I think it's very interesting. Obviously, if people don't know the stock you come from, Norbert Novenyi Jr., your father was an Olympic gold medalist and a really good kickboxer and all that as well. For you at the start, was it always MMA? Or was it like, I could go to wrestling, I could go to kickboxing, I could go somewhere else? Tell us about the start from you. Or were you even thinking about maybe not going in that direction? What was it like for you when you were very young?
Yeah, so my father was quite smart in terms of giving me a lot of opportunities. One was that basically got me in a lot of different sports. Fighting was probably the last one he wanted me to do, and also in Hungary, education is a big thing. So education was always pushed onto me. Both my parents got like several like university degrees, and they got me into music. So they tried to give me as much as possible. I was always very lucky when it comes to all that stuff. But he opened his gym. He got me into wrestling and this and that when I was younger. I always said it kung fu karate. I started with karate when I was like 2, but I never really enjoyed it. And when he opened his gym when I was 10, that's when I fell in love with the sport. And that's when I decided that this is what I'm going to do. I don't care about school. I'm going to do the school because I have to. And my parents want me to, but I'm just going to do this. Yeah.
And was it a case of, was it MMA from the very start, or did you fall in love with
Yeah.
wrestling first or anything like that?
It was always wrestling as well. I was doing that, but for me, it was MMA. It was always MMA. It was MMA because when I went on YouTube, I didn't see no wrestlers looked as stars and commentators talking about them and highlight videos. It was all like MMA fighters. So for me, that was it. Like that's where I wanted it to be.
When you start from that point, right, and obviously you're going to a gym, but obviously you have your father behind you and everything as well. We hear fighters talking all the time today about, we've seen with even AJ McKee with his dad behind him, and how they start off their kids coming up, and where they put them, the base that they get them for. For you, with obviously the people in your gym, but your father as well, but then with yourself, I suppose, as you come into your teens and as you come into your 20s, how did you build that style? Was it a case of building the wrestling first, building the striking together, or was it just MMA from the very start in terms of the style?
So obviously, I was doing all of it, mainly wrestling, and I was mixing it up together when I was younger. And then I came to London Shoot, and I have a genius coach at London Shoot, and he gave me my style. He taught me how to strike properly, not like an idiot and like the way that everyone does it. Where you get brain dead and stuff like that. He also showed me how to mix it up. You know, even though my dad was a kickboxer, he was full contact. He never had this point style. He never, yeah. So, and he never had that amateur boxing background. And my coach understands everything so well, and he gave me a key. I feel like it's a key that unlocks every single lock. It's been unlocking a lot of locks so far, but he's the one who made my style. He's the one who showed me how to strike the way I strike. He's the one who showed me how to mix it with my wrestling, and he's the one who gave me the black belt level jiu-jitsu and all that kind of stuff. So, and he gave me a lot of the wrestling as well. So yeah, it's everything is my coach. I just literally I just show up and I do what he tells me to do.
How frustrating was it? Because obviously you're still very young and you've only had, 9 MMA fights altogether. How frustrating was it? We mentioned the timeout, to be out for so long. Basically 3 years or a little bit more. You'd one fight in the middle of it, but then injured again and back. It must have been so frustrating as someone who wants to learn and who wants to get better all the time. And it's clear to see that in the way you fight. How tough was that?
It was the tough part was really is that I'm at the gym every single day, even when my knee was bad. I gave myself 2.5 weeks of feeling sorry for myself, and after that, I was back in the gym and doing 2 sessions a day, and I couldn't even walk properly. And then once I could do more stuff, I was at the gym 10 hours a day, and yeah, I mean, to me that was the annoying part. I'm in the gym every day. I train 2 3 times a day, and I'm not fighting. I'm not getting paid for it. You know, I'm working harder than probably 99.9% of the world, and and I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not doing anything. I don't get to perform. You know, and I love performing. I love all of it. I love all this stuff, and I don't get to do it. All I get to do is just watch everyone else just improving. You know, guys who were amateurs, they are pros now in my gym, or guys who had the same record, they got double the fights now. And you know, I'm happy for all of them, but to me, it was like heartbreaking. And I had points. Listen, I the amount of injuries I've had the whole time, not just the ACL was obviously that was the main one, but other than that, so many issues and stuff like that. And every single time I'm like, what am I doing this for? And you know, that was the hard part. But then again, at the end of the day, I'm in love with this sport. You know, I've got nothing else going on right now in my life. Um, so once when I was allowed to be back, it was very good, very good.
After the first year out, obviously it was the ACL first, wasn't it? And then you came back. You fought Lloyd over in Bellator 247, and then you 3 years out.
No, no. So
Yep.
so basically, I had laid. So I had a year layoff because of COVID. Then
Okay.
I
Yeah.
had laid. Then I had another year off because of COVID, because my US visa expired. Bellator wasn't coming to Europe, all that kind of stuff, and the embassy was backlogged. And then when I finally had a fight against Charlie Ward, that's when I tore my ACL, and that was another year and a half. So that's two and a half years. So you know,
One thing I've said this to you before as well, and I've said it on other videos. I'm not just saying it because you're here. I think you're one of the best prospects in the world, but without like by a country mile, and it feels like people don't realize that. To be honest, now from my point of view, I don't know if it's the same from your point of view, but obviously you fought Will Fleury, who's a countryman of mine. So I went and
yeah,
I watched some of your fights, and I was like, oh, Jesus, Will, you're gonna have a tough time here. It's not gonna be
yeah,
an easy fight for you. Do you feel like, and that was when you were only what 3 fights into your career? Do you feel like all this
yeah. I
time
was
sitting
19.
out? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had all this time sitting out after that great performance, and as one of the best prospects in the world, and people don't really even realize it or know it. That must have been an even more painful thing to have like this unbelievable ability and just the world can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky because I only really care about what my close friends and my family says to me. So if people don't, they see people see me at the gym, they know the level I'm on. You know, and it's like Paige. You go online, you look at his Instagram. Everyone's just talking rubbish to him, and I truly believe he's the best striker. He just full stop the best striker in the world, and definitely the best striker in MMA. And just the amount of shit he gets and the level he is, and he's got robbed in 2 fights, 2 fights and stuff like that. And he's amazing, and I've seen the kind of shit people talk about him. So if just people don't talk about me at all, it's probably like I'm not that fuzzed. I know what everyone else knows about me, who matters to me, and now I'm gonna have my time when I show the world, and I will have a world title without a doubt. And then it's gonna be, it's all gonna be worth it. Just be. I have to be patient, patient and consistent. That's it. Those two things, and it will come.
Obviously, you've Camille coming up at Bellator 297, which is Bellator's best card of the year, in my opinion, anyway. And we'll see how the rest of the year goes. But do you see that as like a big opportunity to kind of show the world? Like, it's not only a big opportunity for yourself and a big fight and everything like that, but to show the people who'll be tuning in for that great card just what level you're at.
Yeah, 100%. And I know he's going to be coming for me. He had a tough fight against Vastinis, his last fight, and obviously couldn't perform as well as he probably wanted to. So he changed. He'd been training at good gyms. Now he's doing his whole camp at Killcliff. I know, they 100%. I'm 100% sure they're getting ready for me, and is definitely a good way for me to show the world what I can do. But at the end of the day, for me, every single fight is just as important. To me, every single fight is like my life is on the line. So it's actually, if anything, it puts a lot of pressure on me as well, because the way I look at it, I just can't afford to lose. Even in the gym, I just can't afford to lose, and I hate losing. Even you see me like leave the gym fucking fuming if I had one bad rounds. So every single session, I put a lot. Every single fight, I put a lot of pressure on myself regarding that. So as I said, all I need to do, all that matters to me is that I beat him. Nothing else. I'm not trying to show anyone anything. I need to win. And every single fight I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna win. I need to win.
It was funny because you looked so relaxed in that fight in Dublin. It seemed like the exact opposite of that. Is that just, is it, you're like that until maybe you get into the cage, then you get into the cage and you kind of just open up and it's kind of your happy place maybe?
Yeah, no, I was in my zone. I really feel like I was just in a zone state. And the only fight where I didn't feel like I was in a flow state and in the zone was against the Laid fight, where he dropped me in the first like 10 seconds. Obviously, I won that in the first round, but that was like one fight when I didn't feel like I was in the zone. And the one in America I had before, because I was super sick. I had a chest infection and sinus infection, so I couldn't see or hear while I was fighting. I was just seeing shapes. I don't even know how I passed the medicals, to be honest with you. But I was really sick for that fight, and yeah, that was like, other than those two, when I didn't perform well, I'm usually in the zone, in that flow state, and that's where I like to be. So to me, there it's just me and my opponent, and just the voice of my coach.
You
And
you you
yeah, that's
mentioned you mentioned MVP a second ago, and I was actually speaking to him in Dublin about you as well, and he was just saying how good you are. And when you talk about kind of flow states, there probably isn't a fighter better than him to look at when you're talking about a flow state. How good is that to be able to train with him and spar with him, and kind of be taught by him even in a way to be able to go out and fight like that? Then
yeah. I mean, it's amazing. He's like a big brother to me, and he probably taught me more stuff outside the gym, outside of fighting, than inside of fighting. So yeah, 100%. I'm happy to call him my friend and my big brother. It's one of those things, and just to see him, I think he's once in a lifetime talent. I haven't seen. Well, although to be fair, we had like Global Fundo. He was crazy talented as well. Obviously, Alfie Davis is one of the most talented guys I've seen as well. Like in general of having talent for something. But yeah, but Paige is is something else, and for me to be able to train with that person is a really big thing, and that's why I think my game is improving so much. If I can deal with his striking, which is which is nightmare, excuse my French, which is an absolute nightmare. If I can even just slightly deal with it, most guys will be very easy.
I saw as well that you were training with Daniel Cormier when you were over in the States. How did that go? What was it like to train with him?
Yeah, so that one literally, I just got in touch with Josh Robinson because I was out there. I was like, I'm here. I want to get some work in, and I don't really want to go AKA because there are a couple guys that I might eventually fight. But then obviously he had his team. Only thing is, obviously he trains a lot of young kids. Well, young kids as in they're like 2 years, 3 years younger than me. Um, but obviously they still younger, and they still, they're 19, 20. But yeah, it was great atmosphere. He put me, he kind of shocked me. I'm not gonna lie, kind of killed me, especially coming off the plane. I was jet lagged and everything. But he was a great guy. He actually ended up picking some stuff up. And it was a great experience to train under someone, with that kind of name. You know.
Last couple of things here, Norbert. And I really appreciate the time. Look, you mentioned earlier about the fight itself, and I wouldn't mind getting a prediction from you about the fight, but also, and maybe more importantly, even the prediction for the future, because you said you're going to be a champion, and like everyone kind of says they're going to be a champion, but I feel like you have the kind of the backing behind it, and if there's anyone who's watched you fight, they know you have the ability to do it. What does it look like? Say this fight, obviously, you think you're going to win. Is it kind of, you said come back towards the end of the year? Maybe is it the Dublin card? Is it a lot of fights next year? Is it staying, fit and getting a lot of fights in, or do you want to do it quickly? Because like there aren't many people ahead of you that are more ready than you. What way do you look at it? We see a lot of people recently, you know, like Ian Gary, he says he wants 5 more fights before he fights for a title. Are you in that sort of mind? Are you in the let's win this, let's win one more and then I'm ready type of thing?
Yeah, I think he's smart and he's doing it well as well. It's not like back in the days when, you know, obviously John Jones is amazing, whatever, but now I feel like even though he fought a lot of legends and big names, it's a bit different. I mean, the level everyone just leveled up, you know, as the sport is improving, and I'm still very young. I'm only 23, so I need to make sure I take my time. You know, Johnny Eblen's going to be hard work, and I appreciate that. You know, he's got great cardio, decent wrestling, mixes it up quite well. Although I don't think his striking is on my level, and I don't think, and I feel like my wrestling can match his. You know, but either way, he's hard work and he's legit. I actually rate Johnny a lot, and he's got power in his hand as well. So for me just to be like, yeah, 2 more fights, 3 more fights, it'd be silly for me to say that. I want to improve. I want to go. I want to make sure once I get a title, I keep that for years. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to be one of those guys who I get a title, then I lose it, and then I'll keep fighting, and I'm always up there. You know, I want to be the kind of guy who just does it and, you know, gets all of it done straight away and keeps it. Yeah.
All right, Norbert, I really appreciate the time. Best of luck in the fight next week. I'm sure everyone will be watching, and hopefully we might see you in Dublin towards the end of the year as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Lovely. Thanks, Norbert.